It's a storyline we've been following these last few weeks to start the OHL season has been the Peterborough Petes as they're off to a very slow start, the slowest start in franchise history, where they had lost 15 games in a row going into last night's action against the Saginaw Spirit. But fans of the Maroon and White excited now because they have their first win of the 2024-25 campaign. It was a great road effort from the Peterborough Petes with a 2-1 win over the Saginaw Spirit. It would be blue liner Clarkson who scored the game winner right off the faceoff to find the back of the net late in the third period. Great effort for Peterborough. They've actually been playing much better of late. They've been having some issues holding on to leads in the third period or just trying to get over the hump in overtime or in the shootout. But last night, finally getting the W, and it's a big relief. You could see it on the players as they celebrated that win last night, just getting the monkey off the back and getting back into the win column. So we'll see what this means for the Peterborough Petes going forward, as obviously this season was looked at as another step towards getting back to becoming a contender in the next couple of seasons. But a win's a win, and this is a great breakthrough for them as they overcame that 15-game losing streak. We've actually been seeing several losing streaks come to an end this week. Last night, North Bay with the win in Windsor last night, snapping their 4-game losing streak. And that was a big win, too, because the Windsor Spitfires, they put up a fight late. It was a very slow start for Windsor. I'm almost wondering if you could blame the jerseys. They were wearing St. Clair College uniforms, which kind of had the colors of the London Knights. Very strange for Windsor, and they didn't get off to a good start, and their comeback fell just short against the Battalion, losing 5-4 in that one. And then a couple other losing streaks the other night. The Owen Sound Attack, they defeated Sarnia. The Guelph Storm won in Brantford. So it's kind of nice seeing some of these long losing streaks come to an end, and maybe these teams can string some wins together going into this weekend. Now, there's still some fallout after yesterday's big announcement that the NCAA Division I Council had voted in favor of allowing CHL players to play in the NCAA after the fact. And we got our first player from the OHL to announce his commitment to the NCAA, and that's Kitchener Rangers goaltender Jackson Parsons, the overage netminder, having a great year with Kitchener. He's got a 9-2-1 record, 2.73 goals against, and a 905 save percentage in 12 appearances. So if you're looking for a trivia night answer, and the question is, which OHLer was the first one to commit to the NCAA? Jackson Parsons. And I would imagine we're going to see more of this in the coming weeks. It sounds like there's already been some recruitment efforts towards some players in the Ontario Hockey League. Now, the rule doesn't come into effect until August. However, you can have commitments, and then they're ready to play in the 2025-26 season. So Parsons is the first of many, I'm sure. I think the recruiters will probably look at a lot of the overagers this year and maybe even some of the 19-year-olds as they're still trying to figure out how this change is going to come into effect. We've seen all the statements now from the OHL, the CHL, even the BCHL and USHL having their statements as everyone's now trying to figure out how this is going to look going forward. It sounds like we're going to be getting a few more players, possibly from the USHL, moving back into the OHL. We could even see some BCHL guys ending up back in the Ontario Hockey League. So a lot of unknowns, a lot of questions, but we do have our first commitment to the NCAA, and it sounds like we have some more players coming to the OHL. Really, the biggest league I think that's going to hurt from all of this is the Canadian youth sports, as a lot of these players now, when they don't get a professional tryout or a contract, they tend to play in a Canadian university. We've seen that especially with the University of New Brunswick. They've been really hot of late, or even in Toronto. A lot of former OHLers would then go on to play for a Canadian university. And of course, playing in the OHL, it would cover your tuition with the scholarship agreements. But now with this NCAA offer, it's going to be interesting to see how many of those players go on to play youth sports in Canada and how many will go to the NCAA route. Now, to note, it was the Division I Council, so any Division III school CHL players don't qualify for. That's going to have to be a separate vote. I haven't heard if they're going to do a vote on that front, but still, that's where I say there's still plenty of questions to be answered here. And I think Canadian youth sports will be the hardest affected. The USHL, I know there's some wondering, is this the end of the USHL? No, I don't think so. I think for the USHL, it still has a role to play because not every U.S. player of that age is going to want to come to Canada or play in the CHL, they want to play closer to home. So if there's a USHL team close to them, expect them to play there. So I'm almost wondering if this change is going to have players maybe look at options within their geographic area to help decide where they're going. But still, things are still being answered as we go along. But if there's any other updates, I'll fill you in here on the channel. Now, there was some news with the Ottawa 67s. They're getting a familiar face back. Brady Stonehouse, one of the fan favorites of the Ottawa 67s. The overage forward is back in the nation's capital. He's actually going to be in the lineup tonight for Ottawa as they get back into the swing of things. Stonehouse signed that free agent deal with the Edmonton Oilers. He was at training camp the last 2 years. He suffered a shoulder injury as he was trying out for the Bakersfield Condors, but just not able to make the lineup there. So he's been sent back to junior. Now the big question is, what do the 67s do with their 4 overagers? As now they have an extra OA, and they do have quality overagers here. When you look at it, you got Will Giroir up front on the left side. Matthew Mayich, his name was brought up a few times at the OHL trade deadline last year. There's a lot of interest, I know, for Matthew Mayich, but he's a good quality defenseman. So if Ottawa is looking to stay competitive, do you keep Mayich, Giroir, and Stonehouse? But then you factor in the goaltending. Colin McKenzie has had a pretty good career in the Ontario Hockey League. So there's another player that's, do you look to find him a new home? Moving an overage goaltender is easier said than done. Usually goaltenders don't get moved as often with the OA situation. We saw that with Stuchka with the Peterborough Petes. He ended up leaving the Petes because there's no home for him with the other 19 organizations in the Ontario Hockey League. So some tough decisions to be made here with Stonehouse now in the picture for Ottawa. Plus, you have to consider, is there going to be anyone from the USHL that the Ottawa 67s drafted in the past that they could bring into this lineup? So there's going to be a lot of competition with Ottawa and really for all 20 OHL clubs as they explore if players are going to be interested in coming back to the OHL or joining the OHL, these NCAA committed players. So it's a lot of unknowns, even with this fact, with an OA situation. Very tough call right now for Ottawa, but they don't have to make that decision right away. You can have over 3 overagers on your roster up until the OHL trade deadline, but you can only play 3 OAs on any given night. So those are the news items. That's how I see it from the booth. I know people are still asking a lot of questions following the vote yesterday at the NCAA, but as we get answers, we'll pass them along here. So don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you can be notified the next time I have a video posted. The Barrie Colts also back on home ice tomorrow. Can't wait to call that game. They're taking on the Sudbury Wolves after playing in Sudbury tonight. So the back end of a home and home, their Central Division rivals. Should be a good game tomorrow. We'll have the call on Rogers TV. Puck drop is at 7:30. So again, thank you very much for all your support, and we'll talk to you again soon.